At some point in life, almost everyone asks the same question, even if they don't say it out loud. Why do I know what I should do, but still don't do it? Why do I feel motivated one day and completely empty the next? Why does motivation always seem to fail me when I need it most? We grow up surrounded by stories that tell us motivation is the key to success. We're told to find our passion, light the fire inside, and everything else will fall into place. But for many people, that fire burns bright for a moment and then quietly goes out. You wake up inspired. You promise yourself this time will be different. You'll be consistent. You'll stop procrastinating. You'll finally change your habits. In that moment, the future looks clear and exciting. But then real life shows up. You feel tired. The task feels boring. Progress feels slow. Doubt creeps in. And suddenly, motivation disappears without warning. When that happens, most people don't question motivation itself. They question themselves. They think they're lazy, weak, or undisciplined. But what if the real problem isn't you at all? The truth is uncomfortable but freeing. Motivation was never meant to be reliable. It's an emotion, not a strategy. It's influenced by your mood, your energy level, your stress, your environment, and even your blood sugar. Expecting motivation to carry you through long-term change is like expecting excitement to last forever in a relationship. It feels amazing at the beginning, but it was never designed to handle routine, boredom, or difficulty. And yet, we keep trying to build our lives on top of it. Motivation works best at the starting line. It helps you imagine a better future. It helps you take the first step. But after that, motivation fades, and reality takes over. Real progress happens in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when the task feels repetitive, when the results are invisible. Motivation hates those moments. That's why relying on it leads to cycles of intense effort followed by burnout and disappointment. What actually works instead of motivation is something far less exciting, but far more powerful. Structure, systems, environment. The invisible forces that shape your behavior without asking how you feel today. Look at your daily life. You don't decide every morning whether to brush your teeth or check your phone. Those actions happen almost automatically, not because you're motivated, but because they're built into your routine and surroundings. That's not willpower. That's design. People who achieve long-term success are not more motivated than everyone else. They simply reduce the number of decisions they have to make. They don't rely on emotional energy. They rely on habits that are so deeply embedded that skipping them feels strange. When action becomes the default option, motivation becomes irrelevant. Another reason motivation fails is because it puts all the pressure on the present moment. It asks you to feel ready before you act. But readiness is a feeling, and feelings are unstable. What actually creates momentum is action first, emotion second. Most people think they need to feel confident before they act. In reality, confidence is built by acting consistently, even when you feel unsure. The same is true for clarity, discipline, and self-belief. These qualities are outcomes, not prerequisites. Identity plays a massive role here. The stories you tell yourself about who you are shape your behavior more than any motivational speech ever could. When you see yourself as someone who always starts but never finishes, you unconsciously act in ways that confirm that story. When you see yourself as someone who shows up no matter what, your behavior slowly aligns with that belief. Identity-based change doesn't rely on motivation. It relies on consistency. Small actions are another uncomfortable truth. Motivation loves big promises and dramatic transformations. Real change comes from small, almost boring actions repeated over time. Doing less than you feel capable of, but doing it consistently, is far more effective than doing too much once and quitting. When the bar is low, resistance disappears. When resistance disappears, action becomes easier. And when action becomes easy, progress becomes inevitable. Environment is also stronger than motivation. If your surroundings constantly distract you, tempt you, or drain your energy, no amount of motivation will save you. But when your environment supports your goals, good behavior happens naturally. This is why willpower feels so exhausting. It's not meant to fight your environment every day. It's meant to be used sparingly, not as a daily survival tool. There's also an emotional side to why motivation doesn't work. Motivation is often tied to self-judgment. We tell ourselves we need to be motivated because we believe we're not good enough yet. We chase motivation as proof that we care, that we're serious, that we deserve success. When motivation fades, shame takes its place. And shame is one of the biggest killers of progress. Systems don't shame you. Identity doesn't shame you. They simply guide you forward. The people who seem the most disciplined are often the least emotional about their habits. They don't dramatize success or failure. They miss a day and move on. They understand that perfection is not required for progress. Consistency is. When you remove emotion from the equation, habits become stable. When habits are stable, results compound quietly in the background. Over time, Something interesting happens when you stop relying on motivation. You stop waiting. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? You simply act according to the systems you've built. And paradoxically, this creates a deeper sense of freedom. You're no longer controlled by your moods. You're no longer dependent on external inspiration. You become reliable to yourself. This doesn't mean motivation is useless. It still has a place. Motivation can inspire change. It can help you reflect, reset, and dream bigger. But it should never be the foundation. It's a spark, not the engine. When you build your life around systems, identity, environment, and small consistent actions, motivation becomes a bonus, not a requirement. If you've been struggling to stay consistent, it's not because you lack motivation. It's because you've been taught to depend on it. The moment you stop chasing motivation and start designing your life for consistency, everything shifts. Progress stops feeling like a battle. Discipline stops feeling like punishment. Growth becomes quieter, slower, and far more real. And one day, you look back and realize something powerful. You didn't change because you felt inspired every day. You changed because you built a life where the right actions were the easiest ones to take. Not because motivation finally worked, but because you no longer needed it. That's what truly works instead of motivation.